What is what is it? One sex? One person. What is person's one sex?
Question number 6.
We're still doing this?
Mm-hmm.
We're still doing this in 2020? I'm just saying.
I am very used to filling out forms that ask if I'm Hispanic or Latino, and so I'm always like, yep, I'm Hispanic, and then I don't think about it. This one really enumerates it. It's like, what kind of Latino are you? And it even includes,
are you the ones we like?
I don't know. And then it even includes Spanish, like people from Spain. And I'm like,
is that not European?
You have Black or African American, then white, and then Indian, which is just a checkbox and you just fill it in. And like the options were for white, it gives like German, Irish, English, Italian, Lebanese, Egyptian, which is the old erasure of any brown people from Egypt and from.
Yeah.
And the native question, oof, that just puts a bad taste in my mouth. The native one.
Well, because they have like.
They use a slur.
Question number 6.
We're still doing this?
Mm-hmm.
We're still doing this in 2020? I'm just saying.
So the question is for 6, what is person 1 sex?
Box 1, male. Box 2, female.
And this is the only question so far that then follows and says mark 1 box.
Right.
1 box.
But it literally says mark 1 box. It's specifying that you can only mark 1 box
And again,
and not inclusive.
we're still doing this.
They're like, oh no, we don't do this whole transgender thing. I live with 2 non-binary people. Do I have to then decide what their sex is? Like, ridiculous.
There are so many people who identify as non-binary who don't really fit the stereotypical classification of sex or gender. Gender non-conforming people who aren't going to feel comfortable and will probably feel like invalidated by that question.
Mm-hmm. For me, I'm not attached to either of those 2 labels.
Right.
But those have real world implications for other people and for everybody, really.
I think the undercurrent of it is that I feel that our government is almost hoping that we don't want to be counted because it makes it easier for them. But then further than that, because, I do have so many identities that won't be fully realized on the census, it's also kind of made me question my perception of how many people like me really are out there, especially considering, when we think about gender in particular, when there's been so much happening recently to fight for trans rights. Every single time I see any adversity, it's like, well, they only make up 2% of the population. Why do we need to care so much about trans people when there's so little of them? But so much has changed within 10 years, for one. And 2, it just because we can't be properly counted, and because we're so misrepresented, and especially when trans people make up so much of the homeless population as well, it really makes me wonder, like, how many of us really are out here and how many of us are being not counted.
This is probably one of the most consistent things about being Black. It's like you engage in these institutions and you engage in these processes that on one hand are helpful to you, but on the other hand are very much like undercutting you or may not fully represent you. So for me, I'm coming into this in the same vein that I'm coming into most of the structures of society or the structures of America, where it's like I want the best from this, and I also understand that there is a way to go.
I think in responding to the census, we are taking a risk and potentially singling ourselves out as members of marginalized groups, various intersections, and that can feel really vulnerable because we don't know all of the ways that the current administration could use that information, and the unknowns are really scary.
Being a Black, gay, positive man in this community, this is the year where I'm finally saying that I count. And not just saying it in a selfish way, just me. I'm including everyone else. Everyone counts. But especially with our, as we've said before, within our Blackness, we've gone so unsung for years. And at this point, it's so important for us to be visible and demand it.
I demand to be counted because I'm here. I exist, and I need resources, and I need specific resources. The resources that work for that person and this person don't work for me, and I need my own resources, and my community needs our own resources.
I demand to be counted because I'm an entire person. I feel like for so long, society has told us that we have to like earn permission. We have to earn our right to be in this space. But I think that as human beings, especially as Black people, it's important for us to know that like we're free. We're free every day. So we don't have to ask permission to be in this space. We have the right to be here. So and that includes the census.
In 2020, demand to be counted.
In 2020, demand.
Demanda.
Demand.
Demand to be counted.
En el 2020, demande ser contado.